What's up guys, it's Feeny and welcome to Wow Feeny Wave. Hope y'all are excited for today's video. I know I am, because we are going to be doing an unboxing and mini review of everyone's number one husbando, Gojo Satoru from Jujutsu Kaisen 1/7 scale by MAPPA Showcase and F Next. But not only are we going to be breaking this bad boy in, we're also going to be doing a compare and contrast with the Gojo Satoru released by eStream a few weeks ago. So if you guys are not sure which figure you wanted to pick out or on the fence, hopefully this video will be helpful to you. Or maybe you're just a simple simp like me and you want to see more Gojo figures and you buy them back to back. We don't judge here because we can't, because I already spent my money. But before we jump into that, if y'all are new around these parts and have no idea how you got here, howdy. I am an anime figure and merchandise collector. We do lots of fun unboxings, hauls, reviews, discussion videos, and plenty of cringy content creator stuff. So if any of that sounds interesting to you guys, I would love to see you in the future. So maybe consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. That would really help me out. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Whee! Voiceover Feeny mode activated. As per usual, this figure was purchased from Ami of his original retail price, but y'all, we need to talk about shipping. Because for DHL, it only cost 4,600 yen to ship. I don't know when the last time I spent that little for a scale figure, and this is obviously the shipping gods smiling upon us. It's a rarity, I'll take it, and I actually spent about like $50 less than expected because of the cheaper shipping. And we got the cute little Ami card illustrations, which I'm so happy they went back to illustrations. It's such a cute little extra added bonus when you order from them. Nothing came damaged. DHL only took like a day and a half to get to me, so they'll get it to you fast. Moving on to the box. Honestly, the box was kind of disappointing. The theme and the color, everything really had nothing to do with Gojou or their show. But I mean, I am happy that there's at least promotional images of the figure and a big window so you can see it. Definitely a step above the Gojou from eStream. Not perfect, but I'll take it. And actually, this box was very heavy. I kept almost tipping over trying to get footage. Opening them from the bottom because we're sneaky that way. There were no issues. Had very simple instructions, which are honestly not worth showing. He slipped out of his blister very easily and had this blue-purple lining? Blurple. We'll call it blurple. But I grabbed my handy-dandy safety scissors and cut off the tape, which there wasn't too much. And thankfully, the blister also was not that hard to open. It had like a medium strength. Not too hard, but not too flimsy, just right. And removing the figure and the base together, I was initially worried that they would rub against each other since Gojou is already sitting on the base/throne, but no, they definitely took their time with protective packaging on both pieces to make sure that there was no issues. And I found it delightful that Gojou even had his own little head blister so he wouldn't be jostling around. But finally removing him from his last plastic prison, I am already overwhelmed by all that pretty, y'all. So let's get a closer look at all those fine details. Ooh, my boot fetish senses are tingling, y'all, because those are some good boots. Love the glossy paint finish and the fabric folds. Okay, not just the hemline, but the whole figure in general are astounding. There's just so many of them. You can definitely tell that they spent the extra time with each individual crevice. I love the color of the navy blue. It kind of has a purple hint to it in my opinion, but you can tell that they really went in with the darker shading to really make those fabric folds pop, and there's even some highlights at the tips or the tops of the fabric folds. The hair is also expertly done. I don't notice any prevalent seam lines. Mold is very sharp, and I also love the light blue shading that makes the white of his hair pop. But moving on to the piece of resistance. the face. Y'all, this figure has no business being that pretty because it is making me feel a certain type of way that I am too embarrassed to admit out loud. Those eyes are just stunning. I love the light blue lashes with the navy blue outline. I think like it pulls the whole figure together. His eyes itself just draw you in, and there's like this light blue shading on the whites of his eyes almost make it look luminescent. Great choice, great choice. The nose sculpt looks fantastic. The blindfold looks good. I wish it was a tad bit thinner so you could see a smile underneath, but that's just me being real picky. His hair frames his face beautifully, and the hand sculpt itself looks pretty good. But moving on to the base, it's like, I got issues with the base, but the outside purple glossy paint finish looks good. The mold looks good. There is an indent for you to place the figure upon, but y'all, that booty dent means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. Because this figure, no matter how many positions you try to place him in, it is flip-flopping everywhere. It is not secure. For 26,000 yen, there should have been some magnets underneath that butt, but you know what? It's nothing Museum Putty can't fix, so just be wary he is not stable, unfortunately. When you put Gojou on his base, it definitely elevates the whole experience. I do enjoy the purple color, although I wish it was a tad bit brighter for more of a contrast with the figure, but they definitely took their time adding the shading to make that purple pop. Now, the real issue I have is that prevalent seam line right there on the front with that white hole, which is totally my fault because it was blatantly there in the promotional images, but due to the figure photography, it looked a lot darker. Now, I have to say, like, there are bright LED ring lights shining on it, so it definitely heightens the white hole in the front. So that is something to be wary of if that bothers you. But if I take a step back and don't have bright lights shining on it, I don't notice it as much. And Gojou just looks so powerful and regal on his throne. Plus those eyes just draw me in, which I'm sure everyone's like, Vinny, we get it. His eyes are pretty. But you don't, like, you have to have him in person. His eyes almost feel like he's following you. Like, no matter what angle I would go, it's like Gojou is watching me. And it's kind of creepy, but I'm kind of into it. I should not have said that out loud. But anyways, base is so-so. Gojou figure is better, but Gojou looks really cool on said base. Even with its faults, I'm still very happy with this figure and think he looks even better than the promotional images. If you love this character, you will be satisfied with this figure, albeit he is too expensive in my opinion. But if y'all have not decided which Gojou figure you would like, it is now time for us to go into the compare and contrast portion of the video with another very popular Gojou figure, and this time the one by eStream that was released about a month ago. I bought both so you don't have to. Look at me, helping society out. Totally not because I'm selfish, I wanted both of them. Ayy. But for those who are still on the fence between the two figures, this next portion we're going to do a compare and contrast to get into the nitty-gritty to help you guys make a more informed consumer decision. Starting with their bases, I think both of them look really unique and different, with the eStream playing with different transparencies and the MAPPA creating that really cool looking throne. Unfortunately, the eStream base does take up a lot of room due to its width, so if you are space conscious, that is something to consider. Onto the figure, I find it delightful that both of them have a glossy boot. Love it. And they definitely did a wonderful job on both of them with the sculpt work of the fabric folds, albeit the MAPPA one definitely has a lot more, but his paint finish to me reads a bit more satin, while the eStream Gojou looks like a true matte. I also find it interesting that they have different colored undertones, with the MAPPA looking a bit more purple and the eStream looking a bit more navy blue. With the back view, you can definitely tell that the MAPPA Gojou has more dark shading in its fabric folds compared to the eStream. But moving on to their hands, they are both beautifully manicured, and it's amazing that you can see the slight gloss of his fingernail, which definitely put my own nails to shame. Both hair sculpts are sharp. The eStream one is a little bit softer and smaller strands, while the MAPPA has chunkier hair strands and has the slightest seam line that is still very well hidden, but they both have really nice blue shading against his white hair. Now to the most important part, the faces, which are both very different but also both very good. The MAPPA Gojou, I love the light blue lashes with a dark navy blue outline of his eyes, but I also appreciate the uniqueness of the facial expression of the eStream and how it's not obscured by a blonde fold. Honestly, it's gonna come down to personal preference. Do you want a more unique face or do you want a more pretty face? But both of their faces are beautiful. There's so much depth and attention to detail in his eyes. Like, they're both winners in my opinion. And here's an in-hand shot side by side for a size comparison. The eStream Gojou does feel bigger, but in all honesty, I think eStream made him like a 1/6 and not a true 1/7 because yeah, he big. But the MAPPA Gojou is still pretty sizable, coming in at about over 9.5 inches tall, which I think is really great for a 1/7. But I was originally displaying my eStream Gojou with my 1/8 Kotobukiya Jujutsu Kaisen figures, which Kotobukiya always runs pretty big, and he always just looked a little bit odd, like too big compared to the rest of them. So I switched him out with the MAPPA Gojou, and while he is still a little bit too big, it definitely looks better. So if anybody already has these figures, the MAPPA Gojou looks a little less awkward in size. Now to shipping prices, which is obviously the biggest deciding factor when picking up a figure. There was a big price jump from the eStream Gojou to the MAPPA Gojou of about 7k yen, with the MAPPA one obviously being the more expensive one, but it ended up not being too big of a difference when including shipping. For eStream, it came out to 7,000 yen for EMS, and for MAPPA, 4,600 for DHL. So it went from a 7k difference to a 4k difference. Obviously, you can make things a lot cheaper with Surface Parcel or Surface Premium, but I thought it might be worth mentioning the faster shipping methods. And we all have different budgets. Absolutely no shame for those who want to do Surface Parcel Premium. Most of my figures are doing that since I cannot pay the insane shipping prices. So it was definitely a nice surprise to see that the MAPPA Gojou was actually the cheaper option. So maybe that'll be a deciding factor when picking up either of these figures. And with that, the comparison and the review for this video is over. I thought I was going to mention which one was my favorite figure between the two, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Screw that. Y'all buy what makes you happy, because personal taste is subjective, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. But hopefully this video was a good guide to making that decision. Anyways, here's a final message from Past Feeny. Hello there, my friends. 'Tis I, saying goodbye because I forgot to film an outro earlier. But I hope this video was both fun and entertaining, and also informative, not just one Gojou figure, but dos. So if you guys are picking up either, let me know and why, or maybe you got both. If you got both, freaking tell me, I would love to know. As per usual, thank you guys so much for your time, because it really does mean a lot to me, so thank you for your support. Should have another video up soon-ish. Don't hold me to it, but I'm so slow at editing. Anyway, until we meet again, which will be soon. I promise. Goodbye.